Hi. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Natasha Daniels, and I'm an anxiety and OCD child therapist. I'm the creator of atparentingsurvival.com, and I'm the mom to 3 kids with anxiety and OCD. And I have spent a lot of time providing resources for parents online who are raising kids with anxiety and OCD. So I have a pretty good pulse on our struggles, whether it's in my own house or whether it's in your house. And the number one thing I hear is, if my child doesn't want to work on their stuff, then my hands are tied. And even mental health professionals will sometimes reiterate that. And they'll say, if your child doesn't want to come to therapy, then there's nothing I can do. So come back in a few months when your child's willing or able to work on it. And that's really scary for us because it says that we are hopeless. What are we supposed to do if our kids don't want to work on their anxiety or OCD? And even if they do want to work on their anxiety or OCD, what's my role in it? And a lot of times I think we misconstrue what our role is in it. We think that it's our job to, police our kids' anxiety or OCD. It's our job to catch every single compulsion. It's our job to force our kids to face their fears and do the things that are really hard. And that really isn't our job. So I want to talk today about what is our role, what's not our role, and what to do when our kids don't want any role at all in their anxiety or OCD. So our role is to cheerlead them. It is to get them to build their skills. It is to learn our part in the cycle of anxiety and OCD. It's to get them connected to the right therapist with qualified skills so they can, get the treatment they need. It's to learn all about anxiety and OCD so that we can spot those things. And then it's to provide our kids, a therapeutic home environment where our kids can build up those skills on a daily basis. So that's our job. Their job is to battle their anxiety or OCD, to learn those skills, to learn acceptance, to learn exposures. We can't force our kids to do that. That's their job. But there is a big part that often gets missed, and it's what is solely our responsibility. It has nothing to do with our kids. And that is the area that we can focus on. And not only that we can focus on, but it's the first area that we should focus on because we have the most control over that. And that is how we accommodate our child's anxiety or OCD. Do we give in to the anxiety? Do we give in to the OCD? Do we talk to the OCD? Do we rationalize with the OCD? Do we do compulsions for our kids? Do we even know that we're doing compulsions for our kids? Do we smooth out that road so that our child feels no bumps? Do we walk on eggshells so that we don't, ruffle the feathers or wake up the beast that is anxiety or OCD? How do we respond to our child's anxiety or OCD is pivotal to our child's success. And that is one area that doesn't get looked at enough. Often we think that it's a child's issue, and so we make sure that we get them into the right therapy. We force them to go to the therapist, or they actively want to go ideally. And then we think we're done, right? Tell me how it's going, and I did my part. Unfortunately, I know as a mom to 3 kids with anxiety and OCD that it's not that clean cut, that anxiety and OCD is a family affair. Whether you want that or not, it is in your house, not in your child. And so we all play a role in our child's anxiety or OCD. It is literally impossible to not participate on some level in the dance of anxiety and OCD. And each one of us on some level gives in to anxiety or OCD, accommodates it, talks to it, grows it. We just have to know in what ways we're doing that and how to pull back. And that can be confusing because sometimes parents are like, I don't even know where to start. I don't want to upset my kid. I don't want to damage my kid. I don't want my child to hate me. So where do I start? Because if I start pulling back the things that I do to reduce their stress because of anxiety or OCD, they're going to fall apart. And then they're going to get worse. And that's going to be my fault. So it could be a really scary thing to consider when you start thinking about your responsibility and your role in your child's anxiety or OCD. Plus, it doesn't feel good. I know as a parent, I don't like it when I think about what I do to grow my kids' anxiety or OCD. I don't want to think that I'm doing anything inadvertently to harm my kids. But I am, because I'm human. And every human being who has little people with anxiety and OCD will sometimes do things that will grow it. And so instead of turning a blind eye or not wanting to talk about it or see it or think about it, it's good for us to take off the blinders and to really analyze our role. Not that we created the anxiety or OCD, right? Because it's highly genetic, but what are we doing in response to our child's anxiety or OCD? Because all of us are doing something, including me. And so the beautiful thing is a couple of years ago, Dr. Eli Leibovitz out of Yale created what he called the SPACE program. And the SPACE program is a parent-only approach to reducing a child's anxiety or OCD and other issues as well. And they poured in a lot of research into validating this approach, the efficacy of this approach, and it has shown to be very, very effective. And that's really good news for us as parents, because finally there is an approach that doesn't involve our kids. There is an approach that focuses on our role, on what we're doing. We don't have to say, oh my gosh, my child's not going to show up for this. Oh my gosh, my child's not going to do this. My child's not going to buy into that. My child's not motivated. It doesn't matter because it's only a parent approach. It's not a parent is the fault approach. It's a parent approach because it's one thing that we can control. And I love that because when we feel like we can't do anything, when we feel like we're paralyzed or our child's foot is on the brake, here's a gift that says, here's an entire approach, an entire therapeutic approach where I don't even have to meet your child. I'm going to teach you how to interact with your child in a way that will improve your child's anxiety or OCD, whether they want to participate or not. That's a gift. And so the SPACE program has taken off. There was a new book that came out by Eli Leibovitz that was directed more towards parents instead of clinicians so that parents can read it as well, calling Breaking Free of Child Anxiety and OCD. And it takes parents through the SPACE program, which is very systematic because these accommodations and lifestyle that you're living weren't created overnight, right? They developed over time, just like your child's anxiety or OCD developed over time. And over time, we learned a dance that happens with our kids' anxiety or OCD. We all do that. And it's going to take time to start to pull back those accommodations, pull back all the things that you were doing to help kind of cocoon your child's anxiety or OCD so that they can learn how to sit with that discomfort. It is a process and it's pretty methodical and systematic, which can make parents feel good because they're not feeling like it's just willy-nilly. You're telling me, okay, now you just have to pull back all of those accommodations. It's like, no, they didn't happen overnight. And let's walk you through this. There's a complete process on how we're going to walk you through that. And the book does that. And then they've actually created SPACE trainings for clinicians. And so now there are SPACE trained clinicians. So there is a directory of providers that you can look at on the spacetreatment.net website and look for a provider that will actually do therapy with just you and your partner or just you yourself to implement the SPACE program in your house. So you can read the book, you can get a SPACE trained therapist, and part of what I do in my online world and kind of in life is I take things, I digest them, and then I try to simplify them. And I am a visual learner. I love to take online courses myself. When I'm reading a book, I will get the audio version because I am an auditory learner. I'm not a book learner. And so I like to learn through videos. And whenever I have an issue, when my daughter got celiac disease, the first thing I did is I went to the internet and I looked, can I find a course that will teach me how to create a gluten-free lifestyle? Which, by the way, I never found, and I had to do it myself, but I was looking for that course because I wanted someone just to spoon feed it to me. That's what I needed in that time. So I created an online study guide to go through the SPACE program as a supplement for people who are either just reading the book or reading the book and have a therapist who just want that visual component to watch videos that will go through the lessons just like the book does. I also created my own worksheets so that it kind of fleshes out the concepts and the approaches, so you have some extra things to do if you want some extra resources. I have had parents tell me that they can read the book or that even they went to a therapist, but their partner or their relatives that engage in these accommodations are just not willing. They're just not going to read the book, Natasha. Will they watch a 10-minute video once a day? Oh yeah, they would probably do that. And that's what this course has done for some parents is provided that extra resource for a partner or a grandparent or an aunt or uncle or a relative or friend who needs to learn about the SPACE program, but they're just not going to commit to reading a book or talking to a therapist. So who is the SPACE training study guide for? It's for a lot of people. It's for parents who are really into this and they want to dive even deeper. Give me the book. Let me see a therapist. Let me take your course and watch the videos. I want all of it so I really know what I'm doing. It's for people who don't want to read the book. It's for people who aren't, book readers. They're like, give me a video. I just want to see it. I want instruction. I want to hear someone talking about it. I want worksheets that are visual. I want all of that. And that's what this course is for. And lastly, like I said, it's for those people that aren't going to do that are part of the SPACE approach, right? So you have to have supporters in the SPACE program, and your supporters might need kind of a Cliff Notes version of how to do the SPACE program, and they're not going to read. So for all of you and more, I've created the online study guide. I actually initially created it for members of the AT Parenting community, which is a membership community that I have for parents who are raising kids with anxiety and OCD. We got so many questions in there about what to do if their child is unwilling to do ERP, that's exposure with response prevention, or face their fears. What am I supposed to do if my child's foot is firmly on the brake? And I found myself over and over again talking about the SPACE program. Have you heard of Ellie Leibowitz's SPACE program? I'm trying to explain it to them. And they would read the book, but they'd have questions. And eventually I said, oh my gosh, I'm just going to create an online study guide for my members so they can watch it. And then now, anytime someone has a question, I can just say, have you taken the online study guide that you have free access to? And so that's how it started. And then I started to create this and it was like, wow, this is a really good program. I'm going to put this in my online school. And that's where we are now. It is officially in my online school. There are 10 lessons that I go through. I go through the entire SPACE program. I do recommend that people read the book. It's a supplement, it's a study guide, but they don't have to if they don't want to. So I hope that you check it out. I hope that you take the tools that are there just for you as a parent, because there's only so much that we can do, but this is one of those things that we can do to help our kids. It makes a huge difference, and research has shown that the SPACE approach was just as effective as CBT, which is crazy considering the SPACE approach did not involve the child at all. So I hope that you'll check it out. There's a link below and you can see if the SPACE study guide is for you. So to celebrate the opening of this new course, I am giving 30% off for those parents who are going to enroll this week. That 30% discount is just for this week and then it will go away. And so you can enroll now and start taking your course, and instead of paying the full amount, you will get 30% off, and that will go away on Wednesday. So be sure to check it out before then so that if you do sign up, you're not going to get frustrated on Thursday and say, man, can you give me that 30% off? Well, actually, I don't think you're going to call me. Can you give me that 30% off? And I'll be like, no, it's already gone, because I'm strict with deadlines. So check it out now and see if it's for you and your family. And I hope that you enjoy it. Take care.